Good morning you guys, it's Karen and I wanted to come and tell you about a pain relief spray that I have been using for my overactive bladder syndrome. It was diagnosed at first, now painful bladder syndrome, which was previously known as interstitial cystitis. I have used this spray for 17 years now and I couldn't live without it. At the very beginning of using it, I couldn't leave the house without it. I don't use it very much now, but I still keep it on me. I keep a travel size on me, I keep one in the bathroom, and I can use them if ever I get the stinging pain. So I have talked to urologists, 3 different urologists, about this spray and mentioned it to them. They've not really been that interested. They've just said, oh yeah, that's fine, you know. But what I wanted to say to you is, obviously I'm not a doctor, and so this is something that is DIY, which means that you need to be extremely careful with it. I'll tell you about that as I'm going along, because I have used too concentrated a formula and ended up burning myself down there or feeling like I've burnt myself down there. So you need to be careful. So I have bought this morning this bottle from Asda. You just get a pack of travel bottles. I wanted to buy it from Boots, but mine's only a little Boots locally and they didn't have any, but you can buy half the size of this. And then I also use the tiny little one that is a glasses cleaner miniature. So it's about like that. I bought that, tipped it out, washed it. It was only like $2.99 or something. Washed the bottle out and I use that one and keep that one in my handbag with me. And then this one is kept in the bathroom. So I have this diagnosis of painful bladder syndrome, but thankfully it is nothing now like it was in the beginning. When I first got it, I had UTI after UTI after UTI, you know, bacteria, antibiotics, all the rest of that. And now, many years later, I have almost like chronic UTIs without the bacteria. They never ever show any bacteria. And I could talk separately about the whole embedded infection, etc. And perhaps I will do at some point. But what I have now is very mild compared to at the beginning. So this is for a lot of you that are in a lot of pain, don't feel like you can leave the house, you know, that kind of thing. Well, don't even feel like you can leave the bathroom. When I had this very badly, I would literally sit in the bathroom for hours. I was just in so much pain. I felt like I couldn't walk properly. I would walk very slowly, or I would sit in a bath with bicarbonate of soda. That's something else you can do that's soothing. But the worst of it was leaving the house if I had to go somewhere, and especially if I had to go to the bathroom while I was out. It would cause this horrendous stinging, not only when I went to the bathroom, but afterwards, you know, I would just feel awful afterwards. So this helps. So I filled this up with tap water. I filled it up to about there. You can fill it up to wherever you want, as long as there's a little bit of space to shake it. You could use boiled water, filtered water, you know, distilled water, whatever you like, if you are worried about like bacteria and infections. Like I said, I don't actually get bacterial infections, so I just get the pain. But I've never ever used anything other than tap water. So let me talk about the essential oils that I use and how I mix them in. And you may be able to use other essential oils that I don't know, but these are the only 3 that I've used and they've all been effective. And so any one of these or any mix of these should be okay, but there are differences. The first one I tried was lavender, and lavender is a bit milder than the peppermint I'm going to talk about. I've also tried tea tree oil. I started off with just a couple of drops of lavender, and that you have to start off very mild, like literally put 1 drop in, spray it down there, see if you can feel any burning, you know, see if you can feel any numbing, see if you can feel any pain relief. If you can't, add another drop in. I don't ever measure anything, you know, I don't measure the amount of water I'm putting in, but I did start off like that, you know, just putting a few drops in. So lavender works very well. Tea tree oil is another one I used. I actually used this at the time, at the very beginning, where I was getting chronic UTIs with bacteria, because tea tree oil is antibacterial. And so I thought that would be pretty helpful. This one is about, I would say, as strong as the lavender. And, you know, it just depends on what one you like the scent of as well, because that's another reason I tried the tea tree oil, because I wasn't liking the smell of the lavender. Let's see, don't remember the smell of this tea tree oil. Haven't used tea tree for a while. Yeah, I do quite like that. And then the final one to talk about is peppermint. Now, peppermint is what I use more recently, because you have to use less of it and it is much stronger. So if you find your perfect solution in lavender and tea tree oil, you're like, okay, I know that I need a 1/4 of a bottle and 3 drops of lavender, put it down to 1 drop of peppermint and try that, because that's where I burnt myself. I thought, right, I'm going to try peppermint instead of these 2. And I put the same amount of drops in, shook the water up, sprayed it, and when I was in pain, and I can't say I was in agony, but it was burning, and I was like, oh my goodness. It felt like I was sitting on an ice block, that kind of burn, not heat. It just felt very, very, very cold. And I just worry that that could do some damage, so be very, very careful with peppermint. But peppermint was the one I kind of ended up settling on and enjoying the most, because it's my favourite smell out of all of them, and this is what I use on my migraines. I use it across my head. So what does it actually do? It numbs the area. That's all it does, really. So it's a pain relief spray, because a lot of the pain that I get, and I'm assuming that everybody else is the same, is in my urethra. And so what you're doing is spraying at the exit of the urethra, and some of it obviously travels up and numbs the urethra. You can actually get lidocaine gel to use for that purpose. I have never been offered it. I think you can probably buy that on like eBay or Amazon, but I just thought this solution works absolutely perfectly for me. So I have never had any need to get the lidocaine. I believe you can get it with a sort of tube that you can put it right up in your urethra, but this seems to work in that it travels and it numbs everything, and you just can't feel the pain anymore. So like I said, I don't get the pain as I used to, but there will be times where if I've not drunk enough water, if I'm not as hydrated as I need to be, if I've drunk alcohol, just anything that I shouldn't really be doing, an unhealthy lifestyle, if you like, I will go to the bathroom, go for a wee, and that's it. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's really, really painful. But I would just spray a couple of sprays of this and it's absolutely fine. So let me show you what I do. It's nothing. There's no science in this at all. I will literally just drop a drop of peppermint or two in here. Now this is quite a lot of water, so I'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, and that'll be enough. And then I'm actually going to put some tea tree in this as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, because this is quite a big bottle. You need much less obviously in the smaller bottle because it'd be more concentrated. So you can't really see that there, but you just twist the top on and then shake it. And then you can see that it's gone all milky. Now really these shouldn't mix, because these are oils. Oil and water doesn't really mix, and you could get more scientific and use something like polysorbate 80 or something that would make them completely mix together, but I don't find this an issue. Like I said, I just think that I just shake this every time I use it and it works perfectly. It distributes absolutely fine. So what you need to do is use, I would say 2 sprays would probably be fine. It's kind of hard to angle it, and normally doing it when I'm sitting on the toilet, because it's like, ow, I'm sore, and I've got the spray literally in a cupboard that I can reach for. And then if you do a couple of sprays and then maybe just dab with some toilet tissue, so that it's not, too wet. It doesn't matter if you dab with the toilet tissue, there will still be essential oils left down there that will numb. And it's, like I said, it's a bit of trial and error, but I promise you this is so much relief. I would say that I was able to get my job in the NHS because of this spray. I would not have been able to work if it weren't for this, because I had a whole health issue and I got made redundant at the same time, and actually I was able to take a couple of months to be ill, if you like, and it wasn't just the bladder. I had knee problems and headache problems and everything else come at the same time, but I was still looking for a job. I needed a job. I needed, to pay a mortgage and whatnot, and so I found this job in the NHS, and I remember thinking, how am I going to get through working, because I'm constantly need to go to the bathroom, it's really, really agony. And so the way that I did it, it actually turned out very, very well. I was right next to a toilet, literally right next to a toilet, and I used this spray. I had my little spray that fit into a pocket, so it wasn't obvious that I was always, taking my handbag with me or anything. I had it in a little pocket, and I would go to the bathroom, use my little spray, and it would be fine. When it was really, really bad, this is really, really TMI, by the way, but I know that if you've got this pain, you might need it. Excuse me. I had face cloth, really soft face cloths, like bamboo ones. I would cut them into little squares and I would put ice cold water on them. So run the tap until it's ice cold, squeeze them out, and then kind of place them down there. And that would be the only way that I could do a lot. And obviously you need to be careful because it's going to be just water soaking through everything. But that would be really soothing. So on really bad days I did that. And you could also spray that with some of this and you would get that same sort of numbing effect. But yeah, without this, there's so many things I would have missed without this, because there's been plenty of times Kev and I have been going out, whether it's to his parents for dinner or to meet his friends or something like that, or for me to meet my friend, and I've gone, oh God, that's me in agony. You know, I was fine, I went to the bathroom, that's me in agony, and I've gone, it's fine, I'll use my spray, and within like 10 seconds, I'm fine. So I hope that this is useful to you. I've wanted to talk about this for years, and I mentioned it in a video, but you guys wanted more information. So yeah, just be careful, like I said, just try it out and see how many drops you need with how much water, etc, etc. Or if you're too scared to make this, like I said, you can get the lidocaine gel, but I don't know how that works. That's it. Let me know if you use this and it works for you. I'd be delighted to hear that. I hope that you find a solution soon. Like I said, I will possibly do another video on what I think of the whole embedded infections, etc, etc, in more detail. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.